you very much.
So if you need next slide, you just need to ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So we'll leave it on this one for the moment. My name is Dave Westwood, and as was just introduced as, I'm the head of learning architecture at a company called Fuse Universal. This is the first time I believe that anyone from our organisation's actually ever come to the stage in Poland. So if you'd indulge me for a short while, what I'd like to do, because I believe in the power of context in education, I'd like to give you just a few minutes on the company, where we've come from, and really our raison d'etre, why we are here. So if we can now have the next slide. So there's two elements to our organisation. We have a charity, which I'll come on to in a moment, but ostensibly, and our main focus is on the redesign of corporate learning and development. And I've been really excited to hear a lot about what people have been picking up on at the moment, because it's all of those things like the power of social, the power of creativity, the power of peer learning, the importance of context and time-specific learning, which we really try and move and push into our platform, and use our platform as a vehicle and enabler for that. So the core team at Fuse grew out of a company called Fuel, and Fuel was the brainchild of our CEO, a chap called Steve Deneen. And Fuel grew to be about 200 people. We provided LMSs, we provided SCORM-wrapped e-learning content to a lot of the big FTSE 100, Global 500 organisations. Steve had a kind of an epiphany one day. We went back into a large telecommunications company in the UK. We looked at the analytics on a SCORM-wrapped course that we'd created for this company at quite some expense. And actually we thought, you know, this is a really great course. This is something that we had the best instructional designers working on, with some great subject matter experts. And it was around behavioural change. It was a leadership development course. It was being used as part of a blend, but it was the delivery of the content. And this is stuff that you'd want people to be able to get back to at point of need, to really be able to go through whenever they need it and go back to time and time again. When we looked at the analytics, our hearts dropped. We were like, we've just spent all this money, we've just created this fantastic course, and the average amount of times that everybody went through this course was once. Of course it was. The point at which your line manager says, off you go on to this particular course. So we thought there must be a better way. There must be a different way to actually engage and empower people to want to take ownership of their learning and to put themselves at the centre of that learning. So we started looking around at the way in which social media has changed the way in which we learn. And I know that if I'm ever wanting to learn anything procedural now, what I'll do, I do a lot of cycling. If I want to change a piece of kit on my bike that I haven't done before, jump onto YouTube, wherever I am, watch a little video of it, stop, pause, rewind, get all of that. Whoever's created it doesn't really matter, as long as it allows me to get the job done. It allows me to get the right knowledge at the right time that I need it to be able to put it into practice. If I want to learn something more conceptual, then what I'm likely to do is I'll go out to a group of peers. I'll go out to something like Wikipedia, which has been curated and created by the masses. I'll go out to luminaries like Mr. Perry Timms on Twitter and see what he's been tweeting about. I'll go onto LinkedIn groups, I'll ask those questions, and then I'll crowdsource that knowledge from around that network that I've got and that network of individuals. And what we realised for the second part of our business was, if we're going to achieve what we want to do here, and by the way, this is a charity, and what we're trying to do with this charity is to offer free of charge education to any child anywhere in the world. We're not going to do this using traditional LMSs and traditional SCORM courses. The adults already hate us, they're not using it. Why would we put the kids through it? We've got to build a platform to deliver this and to deliver education in the workplace which people want to use. Not that we're going to push them and force them to use and track what they're doing at the end of it and track their scores and go, well, hey, I've got 75% of my people through this compliance course. Whoopsie-doo, great! If they don't actually want to do it and they don't actually enact any of it afterwards, sorry, what's the point? So, The Fuse School. The Fuse School is our charity, and we're about to go live. We've just digitised the entirety of the chemistry journey for the national curriculum in the UK. It's 250 bite-sized video. You want to know the power of social learning, the power of bite-sized learning? Soft launch on YouTube. It's about to get structured in our platform, which I'll be taking you through in a moment. Soft launch, 10,000 subscribers to that content worldwide, already 1 million views of that content worldwide. What's even more fascinating about that is that when we look at the demographics of the people who are actually using it, they're mostly people in this audience's age, which is great because we focused at the kids, but either adults don't understand chemistry, in which case that's good because we're helping them to get to GCSE level chemistry, which is probably not a bad thing, but more likely they're teachers, which actually means that we're extending the reach of that because they're starting to use it in a blended manner within the classroom. They're using the videos as actual teaching points. So, what we're talking about here is we're talking about opening up learning and what I call democratization of learning within the enterprise. It's about empowering people to have a voice. So the technology stuff, and really, I got put in the technology screen because I'm talking about a technology provider. However, what I want to talk about really is the people. So I'm going to get the technology a bit out of the way very quickly. So if we move on to the next slide, then accessibility. We put Fuse in the cloud purely for the accessibility factor. Don't know how many people here have ever put an LMS behind a enterprise firewall and then asked somebody to be able to access it on a mobile. Nah, not going to happen. You know, we wanted ubiquity. We wanted people to access this information wherever they are, whenever they are. So we bunged it into the cloud. A lot of people, when we first started, went, "Oh, we don't like cloud technologies. They're not secure." Well, they are, and there's a real shift change, and there's a real kind of change in thinking in the enterprises at the moment, which is actually, you know what, it's probably better for people to have this information than for us to lock it down, and actually they're going to be far more innovative and actually far more knowledgeable if we can give them access to it. The second point, and next slide, is scalability, is that we're working in a global time with globally disparate individuals. If what we're talking about is opening up the knowledge of other people to those individuals, then we need to have something that everybody can access on the same platform. What it also means is rather than us having to go into your companies and spend months and months trying to put the platform onto your boxes with your limited bandwidth and your limited capabilities for actually streaming anything and limited accessibility options, what we can do is we can spin up an instance straight away. What it also means is because we're a multi-tenancy provider, basically in lay terms, everybody gets the same code on the same system, but it's all partitioned up so that you get your own secure areas. It means that every time we bring anything on in the way of new innovative technologies, we can support you in that straight away and you get all of the benefits. So why would we want any of those benefits? Next slide, please. Democratization of learning and development. To extend the pig metaphor that we were talking earlier, Mr. Orwell once said, all animals are created equal, but some animals are more equal than others. Isn't that a little bit like knowledge and learning in our enterprises? We say that, and Sally Ann again said about the fact that 85%, is about the actual on the job, the experience of us actually doing whatever it is that someone's actually paying us to do. Well, let's capture that. Let's not say that we've got certain subject matter experts and to fall into the old L&D model of saying you're going to go on a course taught by this individual because they're the subject matter expert. Because you know what? That's going to stifle innovation. All you get then is the same cookie cutters being rolled out time and time again. What you don't get is the power of the embodied and the empowered individual. You don't get their experience. What we're trying to do with Fuse and trying to do with social technologies is to open up and empower individuals to capture, to digitize, and to share their knowledge in the enterprise with anyone. So it's about getting the right knowledge from the right person at the right time. So how do we do this? Oh, sorry, next slide. So we've built Fuse, and Fuse, if you like, and because we're at an e-learning convention and because we all love buzzwords, Fuse is a video-centric social learning platform. Basically, it's enterprise YouTube meets LinkedIn, but my CEO hates it when I say that, because apparently it underplays all the cool stuff that we do. And he hates it when he gets to see this video, because I've just done it again. But what we're talking about here is we're talking about a community platform. Within your organisations, at the moment, you've got groups of individuals. And those individuals need to be able to collaborate and they need to be able to share. And on the one hand, we've got something that we like to call knowledge management. And this is normally a SharePoint site, and it's normally documents, and they're all really nice, and they're locked down, and nobody can get to them. And even if they wanted to get to them, would they actually read them? Probably not. And on the other hand, we've got learning and development, and we've got lots of courses, and we've got lots of very sexy e-learning, we've got lots of stuff going on there. And if all this knowledge is all this stuff which is actually happening in these communities and actually are based around projects and what we're learning every day, and then what we're actually wanting to do is upskill people about this, why not merge them together? So, Fuse, it's based on the idea of communities. So everybody sits within various different communities of practice within the organisation. A bit like you choose to do on Facebook. You choose who you interact with, when you interact with them, why you interact with them. Exactly the same way as you do on LinkedIn. But what that means is that everything within Fuse, unlike a traditional LMS where you go in there and you get what everybody else gets, because you're in a community, you get all of the relevant information which is specific to you as an individual. So you're getting the right knowledge for you at the right time. Not for everyone else, for you. And that's really important. What we've also done is that we've suddenly started integrating the social, wanting to integrate the social again. And I don't mean to badmouth the traditional LMSs, they're great, they have their place, compliance, love them. What we want to do, and what a lot of providers have done, is go, we do social, and what they do is they bung on a forum or a discussion board. So you've got all the context and the knowledge that's sitting over here, and then you go, right, okay, so if I'm on a course at the moment, right, so that knowledge is being taught in week 1, right, okay, so let me come across to the forum or the discussion board. If I want to ask a question, I want to kind of have a bit of dialogue. Actually, we like that social stuff, you know, it's how we actually work out what it means to us. So I've got this, what I'm watching and what does it actually mean. So I'm going to have a chat with other people. And I want to actually get their perspective on it as well. Heaven forbid, we've got a voice in learning and development. Wow. So we put all the social directly on the homepage as soon as someone gets in there. Perry's on Twitter the entire time. He's probably tweeting about me at the moment. And he's constantly getting those updates and he's sharing it with everyone else and they're seeing exactly what's going on here whenever they're not here. Bruno's exactly the same. So it's about aligning that conversation to where you need it, underneath the knowledge and within the knowledge. Next page, please. Next slide, please. And I'm not sure how I'm doing for time. Sorry. Okay? Fantastic. The other thing, and I alluded to this earlier, is that we're talking about people here, and we're talking about enabling people to share their knowledge. And what's really interesting is something that happens when you start asking people to do this in writing documents, is that I know I'm very bad at this, and I am not a Hollywood script writer. If I could see, I would ask if we've got any Hollywood script writers in here today. Anyone who's ever written a screenplay, a play, or anything like that. Have we got anybody who's ever done that? How many people have written a white paper? They've written something which is to be read. So a lot more people have written a publication of some kind, they've written a process document, they've written a white paper, a briefing paper, a project brief, debrief paper. Problem is with those things is they're written to be read. And what they do is they really nicely give us, probably using 5 words rather than 1, 10 key points rather than the 3 that actually we need at that point when we're actually potentially doing it. And they give us quite a nice skeleton of what happened. What they forget, and certainly project debrief documents, if you've ever read any of those, what they give you is really nice scaffold, really nice skeleton, but actually forgetting the people, forgetting the actual actual experience of what it was like to be on that project. Why things went wrong, how they went wrong, when they went wrong, and what the hell you wouldn't do if you did it again. And if they do that, and they do it in a particularly dry, uncontextualised, unengaging way. So what we've done with Fuse is basically added video. So we've got a screencast facility, and if I've got the app out now, single push of a button starts recording video, and it enables me, wherever I am, whenever I am, to humanise and contextualise that information. So I can put a spin on it. I can put my personal spin very easily through video, straight uploaded into my community in seconds, shared with the entirety of everyone else. I'm lucky enough, unfortunately for you guys, I'm coming back onto the stage later to give a case study about how we're using this with a large retail chain. So unfortunately you guys have to put up with me for 40 minutes, for which I apologise, but I quite like being on stage. So it's enabling us to put that context and that human element into technology, and to have knowledge management and, more importantly, focused learning being from peers and being in bite-sized chunks which I can get on any device wherever I am. When these videos go up into YouTube, you can put them up there in any device, or when they go up into Fuse, sorry, React like YouTube. You can put them up from any device, it doesn't matter what file type they are. We put them into native MP4, we put them into multiple different file types, which means if I'm on a 3G connection on my phone in here, I'll be able to watch the video. If I'm out on site somewhere and I've got very, very poor stuff and I'm wanting to watch a procedural video, I'll get it there and then. If I'm on a big screen with a high res and a wired in, hard broadband connection, I'm going to get the full HD version. So it's just about, again, getting the right knowledge to the right people and from the right people at the right time. And final slide. Questions. We love questions. So if we've got communities working together, sharing knowledge, accessing knowledge at the point of need, we want people to be able to ask and answer questions. And there was a McKinsey report last year which stated that knowledge workers, which a massive amount of our workforces actually are now, no tangible skills apart from the knowledge that they've actually got in their heads, they spend 30% of their time answering the same questions. Well, if these are your most innovative forward thinkers, why do you want them answering the same questions over and over and over again? So what we've done in Fuse is built the Ask a Question functionality. This really tried to mitigate this issue by saying that a question is asked once, it's answered once, not only for the benefit of the individual who's asking it, but for the benefit of the entire community or organisation. Because the answer to that question can be through a video, it could be through an audio file, but more importantly, it's asked of the entire community in which it's asked, so the answer can be crowdsourced. You can target it as a subject matter expert if you know who the individual is, and they can answer it. But you can also then start having a dialogue around, well, actually, just because that's the way we've always done it, isn't actually the best way to do it. The answers can then be rated, and they become searchable knowledge assets. So they become searchable through the search on Fuse. As with all of the videos, if I type in knowledge management, I'll get a series of videos, I'll get a series of people, but I get a series of questions which have been asked, to which the answer as a subject matter expert then becomes, every time I'm asked a question, the answer's on Fuse. Go and search for it. I can share the link with them, I can show them where it is, but instead of me taking 20 minutes out of my time to actually kind of talk through that person, the process, I can say, now you understand the procedural elements, come back to me if you have any other further questions, and let's have a real high quality coaching conversation rather than it being about the knowledge transfer. And I'm not sure how we've done on time there, but there we go. And I'll be back later to talk to you guys about some of the work that we're doing with the retail establishment Phones4u. So I look forward to that as well. So thank you very much.